I ain't afraid to make a scene if you ain't seen me. I don't give a fuck, we in the car.
Shay, this is Omscorpius or Gabrielle here for your Sunday reading. Hello. So any announcements that we have today are mainly just YouTube is up and running. I've been thinking of pick a cards for everyone, so it's just a process of recording those and getting them uploaded, but YouTube is ready. The pick a cards are strictly going to be on YouTube, and I might put one or two on Instagram, but the daily is going to go on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, so yeah, so I'm really excited just do it. So, and it's getting done. So again, I want to say thank you for everyone watching, sharing, and liking the videos. Please hit that like. It does help put me in the algorithms as we do more of these as time progresses. So that's about it. Our fifth card for today is going to be Dreams of Gaia. Again, I thought about it, and I was kind of debating between goddess cards or the unicorns, but I think I'm going to go with Dreams of Gaia. Something told me to do that because last Wednesday's reading was very interesting, and that was just kind of like, where are we going? And it went to a beautiful place, balance and universal love. You know, so let's see what Sunday is going to tell us today. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in, and we're going to start off with the Black Flame Tarot. This is the major arcana only. None of them really want to fall out. Oh. All right. This one's interesting. I'm going to have to grab the book on this one. It's more red, more desire and passion here. And it is the AEON. The AEON. So I can tell you right now from starting that this is definitely, it's going to be a new beginning for sure, a rebirth. And as you can see, there's like this portal and this man sitting here, and within that portal is the god Set, the Egyptian god Set, who was very much a energy being of beingness and a god himself, coming into his own consciousness. And this is kind of like the theme that surrounds the whole Black Flame tarot deck, is kind of that Setian ideology about expanding your consciousness and coming into being and kind of accepting these cycles and rhythms of your life. That is a big representation of the left-hand path of dark magic, is kind of becoming aware of your magical ability, your godliness. And there really isn't worship associated with the left-hand path, especially with Setians. So it's very interesting, and I feel like the Aeon is definitely a big part of beginning. So let's gonna read the book and see what little details we can get and move on and see what other cards are going to be supporting this as. So let's check out that book really quick. All right, we are back with the Aeon of Set. Okay, so the description here was gorgeous. I want to tell you that. So the Aeon of Set is this image of Set, which says, "Look upon me and go with me upon the journey." This journey is represented as the will of the individual, that he or she consciously makes the effort to pursue the left-hand path of spiritual development. And like I said, it's like the Magus with the spiritual development is taking that active choice and understanding the cycles and rhythms of ascension and descension, negative and positive, light and darkness, within and without yourself, because subjective and objective was a big part of this. Set, this is basically saying what I was saying in the beginning with this kind of being a path of the left-hand path, and specifically with this one, one of the deities that is represented is Set, the Egyptian god. So this is making the pursuit of that path, that journey, and leaving the past behind without regret. It's the illuminating realization that one must take action upon themselves. And so it's like, not only like as you work with the subject, which is yourself, the objective world will reflect back, and you'll see these patterns, which are very interesting to say the least. Another interesting thing that I didn't know about this card was the coiled up dragon form also symbolizes the Leviathan. Like, I'm a beginner in daemons, so I don't really know much about the Leviathans. I have heard of them, but here it gives me a little insight that it's the Leviathan represent the idea of continuation, and they signify cosmic creation. So it's awesome. As you shed skin, you continue to grow, you continue to learn, and shedding skin is also shedding lessons, cycles, and rhythms that you go through naturally throughout life. You know, like with collectivism, which was on our last card with community, it was balancing out that collectivism with individuality, the subject and the objective world. But what some of the negative signs of, like, if you swing too far into collectivism, you kind of lose that acting upon oneself in those cycles, and you kind of rely on the community to do that with you. And there is a way you can do that with the hive mind of people together. Their minds kind of create a matrix. And that's why it was saying yesterday that systems are made of people. It's individual minds that make up a whole system, and that is the matrix. So it's just interesting that this is more leaning towards that individualism part, where it's taking the work that it does to kind of shed that skin yourself, which is sometimes I find to be, I feel like both can be difficult, and it also depends on the person, because some people thrive really well in collectivism and some people thrive really well on an individual level. So it's really hard to measure that, and I don't really think it matters. I think what's to be said here is just the truth of cycles and rhythms, and not attaching your soul to these cycles and rhythms, and which is the main thing, because a lot of people tend to do that. And, you know, like when you lose a certain cycle or an experience disappears, because they will as we go throughout life, you start to feel like you've lost parts of yourself, and that is so far from the truth. You're still a whole being, like the moon going through phases. It's still an illusion, those changes, but you gain an experience from that, which is just later to be turned into knowledge on your soul path, soul journey. So this is really awesome. Another symbol of the Leviathan is Asian stylization of the lung dragons, Lung, lung dragons, that inhabit the skies in ancient times. The great yellow dragon that had a hand in creation of the universe, from Chinese mythology. Okay, I was trying to find out, like, was it Japan or Chinese? But yeah, Chinese mythology. So the lung dragons as well is represented, as well as the Leviathan. So this is the Aeon of Set, and basically it's embracing those who are acknowledging that subjective God that you are, your individualism, and the responsibility that you have in that area. And I personally feel like even those that choose the left-hand path and choose to pursue the individual aspect of yourself instead of the collective, you still kind of have some responsibility for the collective, because inevitably we're all connected. We're individual and we're connected, like we are dual beings. So and I usually, if you do the work within, you can naturally have a positive effect on others. But, you know, people always fall into certain ego traps, which are just other opportunities to learn about yourself and perfect yourself. So the Aeon of Set came out. So let's see what the daemons have to say. I feel like this is like Wednesday all over again, where I'm like, where are these cards going? What trip are we going, Set? Insight. Ooh. Okay, got it. I'll take that. Okay. So we have a daemon for today, and this is very interesting. It looks like a woman blindfolded, or a man. It looks like a woman's body but the face of a man. And he has a crocodile at his feet on a leash. This is the Three of Wands. And I think it's pronounced VASSAGO. VASSAGO, I'm pretty sure that's VASSAGO. Very awesome name. And so VASSAGO has a pet crocodile or alligator represented as the Three of Wands. This is the third demon of the Goetia. Some of the elements are Jupiter and Aries. And this is definitely fire energy, Aries, and it's paired up with the Zodiac of Aries. So that's like double fire, I feel like. So we're going to definitely check out VASSAGO and see what this third demon of the Goetia has to say. Do you see that clearly? It's very pretty. You see that crocodile she has, or he has, on the leash? All right. So what I'm getting from this initially is a lot of passion, and I feel like that passion is also channeled in that crocodile that she has. Just very dangerous, almost can be destructive type of passion, and kind of taming that as you kind of she's blindfolded, which makes me feel like she's searching for something, but she's being led only by her passions. Her passions is what's leading her. And I feel like this is something where we have to kind of trust the space of Set as we go on this journey. This is pure fire energy, pure desire, pure creative energy within yourselves. And sometimes that can be very scary when you are completely led by a passion. You don't know where you can go. The potential is very much significant there with this crocodile. And what would happen if she didn't have that crocodile on a leash? And the fact that she's able to have that crocodile on a leash is speaking a lot of her strength to kind of master her desires and allow them to lead her. And I feel like that's the type of faith you have to allow when you go on the journey of becoming a god, becoming aware of yourself in these cycles, and not becoming a slave to them, and mostly following your dreams, your goals, and your passions. So it's very powerful. We're definitely going to pick up the book a little bit and get some more insight on this third demon of the Goetia, VASSAGO. All right, so we are back with our demon, VASSAGO. And so I looked up some things about Jupiter because I really didn't know. And I found that Jupiter can represent an antagonist against darkness, that is ignorance. It also represents like diligence and spirituality. It also, I meant to say devotion, faith, and spirituality. It does have a sense of morality attached to it. And so I feel like there's a heavy weight with Jupiter, with kind of like having a spiritual authority within oneself. And so some of the things that they have listed here about VASSAGO specifically is that the meaning is celebration. And so that also ties in with Jupiter's prosperity aspect. So celebration, and then the nature of this card is introverted vision. And so again, it brings in this crocodile that she has, where the introvertedness can come from her vision being covered up. And so she's completely trusting on this alligator to guide her through connections with her passions and leading the way. And that does take some faith, if you ask me. That does take some faith. And this is a lot of power. So I think that's pretty awesome. I really thought it would like probably give something as far as like taming the alligator, but it's nothing about that. It's completely allowing this crocodile to, I keep going between alligator and crocodile. I'm gonna stick with crocodile. Allowing this crocodile to completely lead her. It has nothing to do with tame. Just be led with faith. And so, I mean, I've already explained Jupiter. Aries kind of explains itself, and that's where that creative you know, that Aries energy, entertainment, glamour, and very much goals, connections with people, where that Three of Wands comes in handy, making those connections. And 3 is also significant of the Trinity. And so I feel like following that soul desire is very important, hence the powerful crocodile that she's holding. So that is VASSAGO, the third daemon of the Goetia. Thank you for appearing. So we are going to move on to our embroidered graveyard and see what the embroidered graveyard has for us collectively. We have Brandon, like, wait. What does it say? Grandpa? Grandpa. 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 I said, does that say Brandon? No, it says Grandpa. We have another masculine energy here. We've gotten a couple of masculine energies, which was interesting. And so we're going to check out the embroidered graveyard from of Grandpa. I keep wanting to call him Brandon. Why is that? He's not, it's Grandpa. But what I can just get from just looking at the card is kind of like a harvest. And so that may tie into the prosperity of VASSAGO. And this, I would definitely feel like would be hard work and labor, because it is the grandfather. I'm getting like a farm sense, and but I feel like he's happy about it. Like it's just prosperity for him, with good, diligent work. Which is, again, the diligence coming from VASSAGO and Jupiter's energy. So let's check out Grandpa in the embroidered graveyard. I'll be right back. Hello. So we're back with Grandpa, and I have the book here. I'm going to read from it. He was very interesting, and so he definitely does deal with like having labor and dedication, which was very beautiful how they had worded it, by saying that he brings calm joy and masters the art of gardening. But it says that this is something that could be done with any action. After performing his gardening, you know, it takes a lifetime basically to master something, and it deals with kind of shedding guilt and the illusion of perfection. Shedding guilt and the illusion of perfection. We tend to forget that perfectionism is nothing but an idea. But we can master crafts and skills through a lifetime of learning, continuous action. It says specifically continuous and repetitive action practice throughout their years to the point of perfection. And so it's a little bit of both, with kind of just being persistent daily in the things that you want to master. And I feel like specifically for this whole reading for Sunday, the persistence that it takes in your becoming, the persistence that this whole cycle rhythm and going through different cycles just to have a spiritual learning evolution of the soul is a lifetime. This is never going to stop, and that we should shed some sense of guilt and perfection, because a lot of times we do, even if it's just simple things from experiencing negative and positive things, ascension and descension, failures and success. Throughout all of that, we do sometimes carry guilt from failures or having success for a long time and then having a failure. And so it's kind of letting you know that you're not these experiences. These are just experiences with lessons, with knowledge for you to learn to keep going, not to ever stop. And so sometimes we do stop because we want it to be perfect, especially if you're someone who's really good at achieving goals and like you hit a wall sometimes. And sometimes that does happen because it's a natural flow, ebb and flow of life. So A very beautiful card, Grandpa, letting us know that we need to keep moving forward and persevering, especially when it comes to our desires and passions. You know, with VASSAGO here, the third daemon of the Goetia. When you're passionate about something, sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes you don't reap the benefits right away, but you keep going, and after time of that repetitive action, you will begin to master the craft that you do. So don't be ashamed. Don't guilt yourself because of not being as perfect as you would like to be. And so this is our beautiful Grandpa, and he does represent the divine masculine, and he is the archetype of a person who performs repetitive actions practiced throughout their years to a point of perfection. So thank you very much, Grandpa. And I also got the sense that, you know, I don't remember, it wasn't Wednesday, I think it was last Sunday we got Father, which was the divine masculine, and it did mention something like this could be a father in your living life or past, or you can just embody this archetype. And I got the sense that we have some male energies, maybe beyond the grave, that are trying to come through with messages as well. It kind of gave me an ancestral vibe when I was going through the book. One of the first pages I landed on before Grandpa was ancestors. So I would like to mention that and definitely channel that archetype if you have a grandfather in your life that was a diligent hard worker, and upon that diligent work created great things that you know, changed the generation, and these are the big changes that we're trying to make as we want to master a goal or achieve our goals. So thank you again. Now we're going to move on to our moon cards, our moon oracles. Let's see what they have to say for us for Sunday. All right, we got some. Okay, now our moon oracle is energy is gaining momentum, waxing moon. Waxing moon. So this is coming out of that seeding point. And I feel like we've gotten past this type of death tower energy that we were experiencing this week. And so if you've made some milestones, whether small or big or whatever ones, they're the milestones that you've been trying to accomplish is picking up energy. Through your repetitive action coming from that grandpa energy, that you are mastering a skill, no matter how small or big. And so keep doing what you're doing is what this card is trying to tell you today. All right, and so we will close it out with Dreams of Gaia. Okay, this is just the major arcanas with this, and we have one that has slipped out. So let's see. Guess who it is? Father. Father has came out, and so I know this card well, being the divine masculine. Again, a lot of divine masculine energy. Father had came up in embroidered graveyard for last Wednesday. I want to say last Sunday, but we had Father, and now we have Grandpa today. And so a lot of this divine masculine energy, because it is divine, is very action oriented, achieving goals, gaining that confidence, and building a stable foundation in whatever skill that it is that you're trying to accomplish, basically bringing them into manifestation by the hard work. And specifically with our reading today, I feel like the hard work that is necessary in becoming the God that you wish to be, the master of your universe, the master of understanding your experiences and not letting your experiences rule over you. So really definitely channel that divine masculine energy in wherever it's needed in your life. So that's pretty awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in for Sunday's reading. Definitely keep doing what you're doing on your road to mastery of your desires, your passions, and following your goals, because that's what we are supposed to be here doing, is following our goals, following what makes our heart burn, you know, the thing that keeps you rising after burning like a phoenix. So keep doing what you're doing and channel that divine masculine energy. Namaste.
Around it. Oh, yeah. And is it love?